Namaste students. In today's class we are going to study about how we can see the object as well as accommodation and light and dark adaptations and common defects of the eyes. So these things we are going to study in today's class. Image formation or how do we see? The four major steps in seeing an object are as follows. First one, entry of light rays. Light rays from the object enter the eyes through the transparent structures, that is through the conjunctiva, next cornea, next aqueous humor, next lens, next vitreous humor. Here the light rays enters through conjunctiva, next it enters the cornea, next aqueous humor, next lens, next in vitreous humor, next it join in the retina region. This is the entry of light rays. Next, focusing of image. First, the curvature of the cornea converges the light rays to some extent and the lens converges them further to form an image on the retina. When if the light rays meeting in a particular point means the light rays has to converge. If it is diverge means it cannot meet in a particular point. So here the curvature of the cornea, so it helps for the converging the light rays. So in the cornea, the light rays converges, then these light rays enters inside the eye region, then it passes through the lens. In the lens also the light rays converges. So in both the cornea and in the lens, the light rays converges and later it enters inside the retina. In the retina, all the light rays is join in a particular point. And when it join in a particular point, the image will form on the retina region. That image is inverted and real. So what the image is formed on the retina region, that is a inverted and real image. Next, transmission of nerve impulses from retina to brain. The light energy of the image produces chemical changes in the sensitive cells, that is in the rods and cones. So when the light rays enters inside the retina region, some of the chemical changes takes place in the rods and cone cells. These changes generate nerve impulses which travel through the optic nerve and reach the visual area of the cerebrum, where they give the sensation of sight. Here, what the chemical changes takes place in the sensitive cells, it converted into a nerve impulses. That chemical changes is converted into nerve impulses. That impulse travels through the optic nerve and optic nerve carries that impulse to the brain, especially in the cerebrum region, and in there the sensation of the sight, the image will goes to the brain region. So next is interpretation by the brain. When the brain receives this image, it gives us to a upright image. Our brain interprets the image in many ways. Here, when the brain receives that inverted and real image, a brain analyzes that image and gives us to a upright image. And when it becomes an upright image, then we can see that object. So this is the interpretation of the brain. Example, it sees the objects upright even if the image formed in the eye is inverted. I already said in the retina region, inverted image will form. If the brain interprets that image, it gives us to a upright image. Next, accommodation or viewing objects in sharp focus. To see an object clearly, its image should be in sharp focus in each eye. The process of focusing the eye to see objects at different distances is called accommodation. The process of focusing the eye to see objects at different distances is called accommodation. This mainly brought about by a change in the curvature of the lens, making it thinner or flatter. It's depending upon the distance of the object. First one, for distant vision, means more than 6 meters. The lens is more flattened or thinner. During the distant vision, if you want to see the object more than it is far than 6 meters from the eye, then the lens is become more flattened or thinner. Here in the diagram you can see, so when we see the distant object, here in the ciliary muscles relaxed and suspensory ligament tight. Ciliary muscles relaxed and suspensory ligament tight. When the suspensory ligament tight, it pull the lenses. It pull the lens, and when it pull the lens become flat and thin. This suspensory ligament is attached to the lens region. Here ciliary muscles relaxed, suspensory ligament tight. When the suspensory ligament become tight, it pull the lens. When it pull the lens become flat or thinner. So this is the when we see in the distant object. Next, for near vision. Near vision means nearer than 6 meters. The lens becomes more convex or rounded or become thick. The lens become more convex or rounded or it become thick. So when we see the nearer object, the opposite of the distant vision takes place. Here the suspensory ligament relaxed, ciliary muscles contract. In the nearer vision, the ciliary muscles contract and suspensory ligament relaxed. What tension is created, the tension is released. When the tension is released in the suspensory ligament, the lens, whatever the tension is there, it will reduce and the lens will become more rounded or lens will become thick. Because the relaxation of suspensory ligament takes place, so there is no tension in the lens also. So lens will become thick as well as the more convex and ciliary muscles contract. In the normal condition, the lens remains stretched by the suspensory ligaments and it is less convex, suited for viewing distant objects. When we look at nearer objects, the ciliary muscles contract and tend to pull the ciliary body slightly forward. This releases the tension on the suspensory ligament, making it loose, and the lens, on account of its elasticity, becomes thicker and more rounded or convex. Dark adaptation. When we pass from a brightly lighted area to a dark room, such as cinema hall, you experience difficulty in seeing objects for a short while. Slowly, your vision is improved. This improvement is called dark adaptation. When we move from brightly lighted area to dark room, for a short minute, you cannot see any object which are present in that room. After a few minutes, we can see the objects which are present in that room. So this is the dark adaptation. Why it takes place? Because first one, regeneration of visual purple or rhodopsin, the pigment of rods which was earlier broken down due to bright light. When we are in a bright light region, the rhodopsin pigments broken down and adopsin pigments become active. When we suddenly enters from bright light area to dark room, the regeneration of rhodopsin pigment, it requires the time. For the regeneration of rhodopsin pigments, it requires the time. So in that short time, we cannot see the object which are present in that room. After regeneration of rhodopsin pigment, we can see the object which are present in that dark room. So you might have experienced, especially in summer season, if you suddenly enters from outside to inside the home, you can see black. You cannot see anything in the home, inside the home. So because of this is the region. So second one, dilation of the pupil takes place. When we enter from brightly lighted area to dark room, the dilation of the pupil takes place. It permits more light enters the eye region. So when we enter from brightly lighted area to dark room, the dilation of the pupil takes place and it allows a more amount of light rays to enter the eye region. Because when we are in a dark room, it requires a more amount of light rays to form the image. So that's why the size of the pupil increases. That is, the dilation of the pupil takes place. So it permits the more amount of light rays to enter the eye region. In the diagram, you can clearly observe when we enter brightly lighted area to dim region or dark region. Here, iris, there are two types of muscles we can see, circular and radial muscle. So when we enter inside the dim light region or dark region, circular muscles of the iris relaxed and radial muscles of the iris contract. Circular muscles relax and radial muscles contract. So dilation of the pupil takes place. It allows a more amount of light rays to enter the eye region. So this is the dark adaptation. Next, light adaptation. When a person with the dark adapted eyes moves to a brightly lighted area, as in coming out of a cinema hall after the noon show, he experiences a dazzling effect for a short period. After a few seconds, he comes back to normal viewing through light adaptation. This is the reverse of the dark adaptation. So when we enter from brightly lighted when we enter from dark room to brightly lighted area, that is inside the cinema hall to outside, so for minutes we can feel the dazzling effect. Means we cannot see the object clearly. So that is the dazzling effect. So for a short period, after a few minutes, we can see the object properly. So when we slept, while wake up in time also, so when we open our eyes, we cannot see the objects clearly. That is a dazzling effect because our eyes in the dark region. When we suddenly open our eyes to the light region, so we cannot see the object clearly. So blur object we can see, that is called as dazzling effect. So what is the reason for this? Here the visual purple of the rods is bleached and reducing their sensitivity. So when we are in a dark room, rhodopsin pigments become active and adopsin pigments become inactive. When we enter from dark room to brightly lighted area, that time the rhodopsin pigments become inactive and the adopsin pigments become active. For the activation of adopsin pigments, it requires a time. So when the activation of iodopsin pigment takes place, at the same time the rhodopsin pigments bleached. So after the regeneration of the iodopsin pigment properly, we can see the objects. And the pupil constrict or get narrower. Here pupil constrict to reduce the amount of light entering the eyes. When we are in a brightly light area, so few amount of light rays is enough to form the image. That's why the pupil constrict. The pupil reduces its size. In the diagram you can observe when we come from dark room to brightly lighted area, in the iris circular muscles contract and radial muscles relax. Circular muscles contract, radial muscles relax, and pupil constricted. It allows a few amount of light rays to entering the eye region. So this is the light adaptation. Color vision is possible only through cones of the retina, which are stimulated only in bright light. You cannot make out the red, violet or purple flowers in a garden on a moonlight night, because then only the rods function and not the cones. When we are in a moonlight night means it is a dark area also. So in that region rods cells become active, not the cone cells. Through the cone cells only we can make out the colors. So through the rod cells we cannot make out the colors. So that's why during the moonlight night we cannot identify the colors of the flower in the garden, because in that condition rod cells are become active, cone cells are become inactive. Next. Common defects of the eye. First one, nearer or short-sightedness, or it is called myopia. In this condition, the nearer object can be seen clearly while the distant objects appear blurred. During myopia, near object can be seen clearly, distant objects appear blurred. Here, the image of the distant object is formed in front of the retina. Here, image is formed in front of the retina. Reason is, first one, the eyeball is lengthened from front to back. The lengthening of the eyeball takes place from front to back. When the eyeball is lengthened from front to back, the lens is too curved. When the eyeball is lengthened from front to back, the lens is too curved. These are the two reasons for this myopia. And in the myopia, the image is formed in front of the retina region. Before the just retina region only, all the light rays will join and image will form. But when it join in the yellow spot region, image will form, we can see. But before the reaching the retina region only, here image will form. So we cannot see the object. That is especially nearer, the distant object. Distant object will become blurred. Here in the diagram you can observe. So image will form before the retina region only. Correction of myopia. How we can correct this myopia? This defect can be corrected by suitable concave lens. By using the suitable concave lens, which cause the light rays to diverge before they strike the lens of the eye. Most of your classmates using the spectacles may be suffering from myopia, and the power of the glasses is mentioned minus. Here, for the correction of this myopia, we can use a concave lens. So when we use the concave lens, it diverges the light rays, and when the light rays diverges and it joined in the retina region, then image will form clearly. This is the correction of myopia. In the diagram you can see we are using the concave lens. Second, far or long sightedness. It is called hyperopia or hypermetropia. In this condition, there is a difficulty in seeing nearer objects. Here we can see the distant object, but it is difficult to see nearer object. That is a hypermetropia or hyperopia. Here the image is formed behind the retina region. In this condition, image will form behind the retina region. Reasons are shortening of the eyeball from front to back. The eyeball will become shortened from front to back. When the eyeball becomes shortened, the lens is too flat. The shortening of the eyeball from front to back, and second one is lens is too flat. These are the conditions for long sightedness. In the diagram you can observe the light rays is joined behind the retina region. So here light rays is joined behind the retina region. Next, correction of hyperopia. A convex or converging lens is required to correct this defect. So we are using the convex lens. When we use the convex lens, it converging the light rays. It converges the light rays. So light rays converge and join in the retina region. So we can correct this defect by using the convex lens. In the diagram you can observe, by using the convex lens, all the light rays will join in the retina region, that image will form. Next, astigmatism. It is a defect in which some parts of the object are seen in focus while others are blurred. Here the some parts only we can see and remaining parts appear blurred. It arises due to the uneven curvature of the cornea. It arises because of the uneven surface or curvature of the cornea. This is corrected by using the cylindrical lenses. This defect can be corrected by using the cylindrical lens. Next, presbyopia. In this condition, cannot see nearer object clearly. Especially it affect for the older people. Older people, they cannot see the nearer object clearly. Their lens loses flexibility, resulting in a kind of farsightedness. The lens loses its flexibility. The lens loses flexibility. So that's why they suffering from the farsightedness, especially for older people. This again is corrected by using a convex lens. We can correct this defect by using a convex lens. Next, cataract. It is a condition in which the lens turns opaque and the vision is cut down even to total blindness. Here the lens turns opaque and sometimes they cannot see anything. It will cause the total blindness. It can be corrected by surgically removing the lens and by using the spectacles with the highly convex lens. Compensating for the missing lens, or in a newer technique, a small plastic lens is implanted behind or in front of the iris. So they can use the spectacles having a highly convex lens, or they can fix the plastic lens. They can implant the plastic lens behind or in front of the iris region. Next, night blindness. In this condition, a person feels difficulty in seeing in dim light, as during the night. They cannot see the object during night. This is due to non-formation of the pigment visual purple of the rods. So this is due to the non-formation of rhodopsin pigment of the rod cells. Only rods function in dim light. You know, in the dim light only rods can function. So that's why there is no formation of the rhodopsin pigment. So they cannot see at night. So in the absence of the pigment, they cannot function. The rod cells, absence of the pigment, it cannot function. This is usually due to the deficiency of vitamin A, which is required for the synthesis of pigment. Vitamin A is required for the synthesis of rhodopsin pigment. So if there is a deficiency of vitamin A, so sufficient amount of rhodopsin pigment is not synthesized, so they are suffering from the night blindness. Next, color blindness. In this condition, some people by birth, they cannot discriminate between certain colors such as red and green colors. Some of the people, they cannot discriminate, or they cannot identify the red and green color. This is due to a genetic defect. It is one of the genetic defect. Mostly males suffer from this defect, whereas it rarely occurs in females. So it will comes in the genetic chapter. In that I will explain. Some of the people, they cannot discriminate red and green colors. So that is called as color blindness. Corneal opacities. The cornea of some patients get scared and turn opaque or white and non-functional. Such defects can cause anything from minor irritation to vision problems and even blindness. In such cases, the defective cornea can be replaced by a healthy cornea from a donated eye. So, we can replace the cornea only. So, that is the corneal opacities. Next, squint. In this defect, the two eyes somewhat converging, leading to what is called cross eye. An opposite condition appears when they diverge is called wide eye. Both conditions may cause double vision or diplopia. Surgery and suitable exercise can correct this defect. Next, stereoscopic vision or binocular vision. All monkeys, apes and particularly humans can perceive depth or the relative distance of the objects. This is due to simultaneously focusing of an object in both eyes and their images by a kind of overlapping in the brain gives a three-dimensional effect. Here, so we are seeing the object with the help of the two eyes. So, the image will form that is overlapping because from the two eyes the image will goes to the brain. Overlapping takes place in the brain. It gives rise to a three-dimensional effect. So in the textbook they gave one of the activity. So you can try this activity. Next, after image. It is called persistence image. If one looks at a bright object for a moment and then closes the eyes, the sensation of light persists for a short period. In the same way, if one looks at a brightly colored object and then looks at a dark surface, an image of the object in the same color will persist. This is known as persistence image or after image. So I think you know this one, persistence image or after image. After seeing the brightly lighted object, when you close your eyes, that image will remain in our eyes region. It lasts for about 1/10 of a second. Next, illusion. Illusion nothing but the lifelike continuous movement on the screen is called as illusion. In a movie, pictures are projected on a screen at the rate of about 24 pictures per second. But we cannot see the individual frames on account of the after image in our eyes. Television too is similar, where the scanning beam of a picture frame of the TV camera moves so rapidly on the viewing screen of the TV set that our eyes cannot keep pace with it. Out of numerous other optical illusions, two are shown
is the
at the
dominant
end of
sense
this chapter.
for most people with sight. The organ of sight
you
is
can
the
see,
eye. Think of it as a
after
slightly
image also in
irregular,
the textbook
hollow
they gave
sphere that takes in light
one of
and
the
translates
exercises
it
for the
into
after
images.
image.
If we enlarge the eye and look inside it, we can discover how that's done. Inside the eye are various structures working together to create an image the brain can understand. Among these are the cornea, a clear dome-like structure covering the iris or colored part of the eye, the lens directly below it, and the retina, which lines the back of the eye. The retina consists of thin layers of light-sensitive tissue. This candle can help us understand how the eye captures images and then sends them to the brain. First, the candlelight passes through the cornea. As it does, it's bent or refracted onto the lens. As the light passes through the lens, it's bent a second time. Finally, it arrives at the retina, where an image is formed. This double bending, though, has reversed the image and turned it upside down. If that was the end of the story, the world would always appear upside down. Fortunately, the image is turned right side up in the brain. Before that can happen, the image needs to travel as impulses along the optic nerve and enter the brain's occipital lobe. When the image forms there, it regains its proper perspective. Now let's consider two common conditions that cause blurry vision. The eye's shape is important for keeping things in focus. With normal vision, light focuses precisely on the retina at a location called the focal point. But what happens if the eye is longer than normal? The longer the eye, the more distance there is between the lens and retina. But the cornea and lens still bend light the same way. That means the focal point will be somewhere in front of the retina rather than on it. This makes it difficult to see things that are far away. A person with a long eye is said to be nearsighted. Glasses with concave lenses can correct nearsightedness. The lens widens the plane of light coming through the cornea. That pushes the focal point back onto the retina. Farsightedness is just the opposite. The eye's length is too short. When that happens, the focal point is behind the retina, so it's difficult to see things that are up close. Glasses with convex lenses narrow the plane of light. Narrowing the light passing through the cornea moves the focal point back onto the retina and can correct farsightedness.
The eye is a remarkable part of the human body that responds to changing light conditions and can focus on varying light rays in an instant. A man-made device that shares many of the functionalities of the human eye is the camera. Many features of a camera are mechanical copies of what happens in the eye. In the human eye, the first thing light hits is the cornea. The cornea takes widely diverging rays of light and bends them through a small opening in the eye's center called the pupil. The cornea actually performs about 70% of the necessary bending of light before it gets to the eye's lens. This is similar to a front lens of a camera's lens system. Behind the cornea is the iris, which gives the eye its color and controls the amount of light that enters the pupil. The iris is much like a diaphragm of a camera, which determines the size of the aperture. The lens of the eye functions much like the lens of a camera by bending light to a focal point. However, the physical properties of each lens are very different. The lens of an eye is a flexible structure that changes shape when adjusting its focus. With a camera, adjusting the focus is done in a different way. Here, the lens is made of optical glass, which is a rigid structure with no flexibility. A camera will adjust its focus by moving the lens closer or further away from the film. This is called the focal length. The retina is the part of the eye that acts much like the film of a camera. The retina is a membrane containing photoreceptor nerve cells that line the inside back wall of the eye. These nerve cells change the light rays into electrical impulses and send them through the optic nerve to the brain where an image is perceived. With a camera, film captures the image by allowing in a certain amount of light that will affect the film on a molecular level. The eye is a much more sophisticated and complex structure than a camera, but both share the basic function of capturing light and color to produce an image. An advantage of a camera is that we can capture a moment in time and refer back to it whenever we want. However, we need our eyes to experience that visual moment in time.